Hi, everyone.
And
I'm
I'm
Kelsey.
George, and
And I'm
you're
JPatt.
listening to the Box Officers Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Please continue to support us by leaving us a star rating and review wherever you're listening to this episode.
Watching a bad movie is like witnessing a crime, but have no fear. The box officers are here. Each episode will review a new movie, and at the end of each episode, we're going to classify the film based on the severity of punishment.
Yes, so films can be convicted of a felony, a misdemeanor, an infraction, or on the rare occasion found innocent. This week, we are going to be reviewing the movie Thunderbolts. So if you haven't seen it yet, you're going to want to pause the episode because we're going to spoil it for you. But otherwise, we can get into the show. So, I know JPatt is, but Georgette, would you say that you're like a big Marvel person? Like, are you a big Marvel fan or not? Like,
I say
really?
I'm not. I've watched all the movies, but I'm not like I see them as good movies. I'm not like anything outside from that. Like I wouldn't buy a poster. Yeah.
Okay. So you would not have the hammer that
Yeah,
JPatt has
exactly.
in the
Yeah, no,
background
I wouldn't
of
do
his.
all that. But
Okay.
I watched the Thor movie and yeah.
Okay. I love that. I'm a pretty big fan. Definitely back in the day, like if you had asked maybe like, I don't know, 4 years ago, I would have been like absolutely like crazy. Now it's calmed down a little bit, but I still have a soft spot in my heart for them.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you guys saw that they were releasing Thunderbolts, were you like excited? Were you like, oh my gosh, this is going to change lives? Or were you just like, oh, whatever, I don't really care?
I think at the time they announced it, Marvel was doing so much already. So I just kind of saw it as like a B tier movie. It really is a B tier movie, but I saw it as like a movie that's upcoming and it has all these characters that are kind of like from the smaller parts of the Marvel universe.
Mhm.
So it isn't like a Avengers level movie, but it was like I felt like it was a new start to the whole MCU universe after Thanos and all of that build up.
I
So
just feel like it's not even fair to them because low key it is supposed to be like Avengers level. But I feel like it's not even fair to
mhm.
them. Like we've been with these people for a decade and a half and we love them and they did something huge that we hadn't seen before. So to try to like live up to that standard, that bar was so high. It's not even fair to bring
Yeah,
other people and be like, yeah, you need to do your biggest one and it needs to be that big. Come on now. That's like you're
right.
setting them up for I
Yeah,
don't know, criticism almost.
yeah.
But
But I did hold them to the standard of because you have the Avengers, and that's like the standard, and then you have something like the Guardians,
Mm,
and that's a bit lower. So I was like, okay, I can see the Thunderbolts taking the place of the Guardians, quality wise, like production wise, story
that's fair.
wise. So that's how I looked at it. That's how I looked forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fair, I
I
think.
just thought it was
yeah.
like another one of their
Okay.
like movies they was making because like they just made so many movies that I didn't even get to chance to watch the new Captain America, the Andy Mackie Captain America. Like I feel like it was just like one of those. Like so,
Mhm.
I wasn't like, oh my gosh, it's so important to the storyline. Like I was like, I'll get to it. It didn't like,
Harrison Ford
yeah.
was
Yeah,
in that and it was
Yeah,
cool.
they didn't. I feel like to me, they didn't make it like, oh, y'all need to watch this. Like it was a like Black Panther 2 or something. Like basically,
I see why you say it. You're correct. I guess in my opinion, like the only thing that's ever going to get that hype, you're going to have Spider-Man. He'll always get that. And then you'll have
hmm
probably like, Avengers Doomsday where people will have that. But other than that, like it's all very optional now. And in terms of like the storyline, it's necessary, but in terms of like being able to participate in conversations, nobody's going to be talking about it. Like you're not going to go to work and feel like, oh my gosh, I'm the only one who doesn't know like what's going on here. Versus like back in the day, you needed to see Endgame or you were just going to sit at the lunch table in silence while everybody else was talking about it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? This isn't
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, like, can we be positive for like 5 minutes? Like, what do we
Yeah. Now,
do?
now, what I thought about the movie, like, I definitely give it like an 8.5 out of 10. I loved it overall. I think what the movie did is it set a strong foundation for this new storyline of Marvel. Because you have the Fantastic Four coming up, and then you have Spider-Man, Brand New Day. Just recently had the Daredevil series, the new one. And I think Marvel is back in their bag with having these films kind of team up and work together and create a story going forward. Because when the Marvel Universe started, it started off with Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. They each had their individual movies, and then they had their own story, but then the post credit would always tie into the next movie. So I'm not sure if you two saw the post credits on
Mhm.
this movie, but it was like such a beautiful tie in to the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. And it kind of gave a little secret as to what will happen in the Fantastic Four movie. So I was just kind of like, okay, like I see like where they're going with this. And it gave the viewers hype. And I think when you're giving the viewers that type of hype again, it's like it's creating hope for the movies in the future.
I
So,
I agree, but here's my thing. When I saw the end credit like scene, that was
mhm,
like I literally had a gasp moment. Like I literally like jaw dropped. I was because I love
yeah,
Fantastic Four, and I'm not gonna say
yeah,
they're the best like group that we have because they're not. I don't know why I like it, but I love them so much, and so I was excited. But that should not have been the most exciting part of that experience for me. I should have been excited during the 2 hours that I sat there during the movie. Why was that the most hype I was during that trip to the theater that day? You know what I mean? But I agree with
hmm
what you're saying that like that was a perfect like segue into like this phase. Like it helps us understand like the vision and even tying it into because I was sitting there, I was watching the movie. I thought, okay, I see what's going on here. But Anthony Mackie already has like he's Captain America, right? But then you
yeah,
have John Walker, and it's like, okay, what are you doing here? And then we have the Avengers versus the Avengers with a Z. And then you have like that connection being made. Cause I was curious. I was like, are we just gonna pretend like we didn't just have like Anthony Mackie have a movie like 3 months ago that this was
yeah.
supposed to be our future? So I'm glad that they were like, no, that dialogue is happening. People are trying to decide who to rally behind, who to support. And also, there's a ship coming from outer space with
hmm
the Human Torch on it. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I
Now,
can appreciate that.
I'll say this: John Walker's character is U.S. agent, and people know him from the whole Captain. No, it was the Falcon and Winter Soldier Disney Plus series. That's where his story started. And he's not supposed to be Captain America. You know, he was runner up for Captain America, but there were
Mm-hmm.
things that happened in that series that led to him not being Captain America.
Yeah.
And now he's just kind of like this standalone character, but you know, he has a place with the
Yeah.
team now. When I'm watching these movies, like I want to feel like I'm on the edge of my seat, and I couldn't get that feeling as much from this movie, even though I knew it was a great movie. I felt like I wanted to be more, I think I wanted there to be a bit more action. There was a whole lot of dialogue. There was a whole lot of like, character to character growth when it came to like talking about
Yeah.
mental health and them kind of like forming together as a team, going from, a team to a family even. I think people are excited about this movie because it may not be the most best Marvel movie ever, but it is a solid foundation. And I think Marvel fans were looking for a solid
I
foundation
do feel like they tried to
because they're
like
like,
kind of rush that foundation because I feel like they try to do that all in one movie though. Like if you look at all the other like Avenger movies, like it was like over a couple of years. Like they had run-ins here, they had to fight each other in one thing. Like and so by the time they came together, it was like wow that y'all went through a lot together. They went through like 2 weeks together or something. Like so I feel like it was just a little like okay, it's gonna be hard because it
yeah,
feels
I
manufactured.
I can
Yeah.
understand that, but I feel like I think Marvel just doesn't have the time for that. Especially with the fumbles that they've had in the past
Yeah.
couple of years. Like you'll see these individual characters like when Marvel first started making these movies, you'll see individual characters run into each other. Iron Man ran into Black Widow. You have Captain America. he runs into, different enemies that kind of build up, Hydra, all of that, build up later stories. And then they all came together in the Avengers, and that's like a several year build up. But I think as of right now, they're like, we need to do some course correcting. We need to create a strong foundation. If we got to do it in one movie, we'll do it in one movie, but we'll do it the best we can. And I think that's what this situation was. And I think that might be where the lack of my emotional connection is at. Because when I saw Captain America meet Tony Stark for the first time in that first movie of them together, I was like, whoa, like them fighting. It was Captain America, Tony Stark, Iron Man, and Thor. And they were having a 3-way fight for the first time. And it'd been like years of movies leading up to that point. So that got me excited when I saw Avengers for the first time, the Avengers movie. But, I think they're course correcting. They're doing the best with, the best they can do. And I think we have a lot to look forward to with these upcoming movies. So I'd give it a good 8 to 8.5 out of 10. And it was definitely like worth the watch. So
okay, this is a good movie. And I went in already knowing that I'd probably feel it's hard because, you want to balance like nostalgia and like respect for the past with also giving this new phase like an equal opportunity, right? Like I can't go in automatically hating just because Chris Evans isn't on my screen, but that is, I do tend to do that. So I had to, go in. I had to go in and be like, okay, clear your brain out. And I think it kind of helped a little bit because a lot of these people we had seen before. Yeah. So is it Yelena? Yeah. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Yelena, we had seen her before. We've actually had her for a few years. I know, a lot of us didn't care for the Black Widow movie, but she was there. She's been here. And I feel like same with, Valentina. She was in the Black Panther movies, technically. I feel like a lot of these characters we had seen before. And so that kind of helped me make that transition. But also, the characters themselves were, I thought the actors did well in trying to help me like digest the characters. Because at first, I'm going to be honest, I thought that U.S. Agent was going to be a problem for me. I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to be comfortable with having this man on my screen. I just thought this is the character that I'm not going to like. When they write someone almost too witty or too sarcastic and it seems like a try-hard, I thought that was going to be it. But by like midpoint to end, I felt like, okay, this is a real human being, like functioning, not like AI wrote out, hey, make this character be blah, 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 So I feel like they were written okay. And the acting was good enough to where I could like absorb the characters. Even with Ghost, I was like, girl, like, first of all, here's what it is. Here, I found it. I was trying to find it. I found it. Why is it that everybody here has the same personality? When you watch the Avengers and you have like Captain America and he's like this noble leader, he's like very kind of old school, but he's a nice guy. Then you have someone like Iron Man, you have Tony Stark, he's very, borderline narcissistic, but very witty, very funny, also strong leadership qualities. You have like some of the more stoic people. It's just like there's range in terms of personalities.
Hodgepodge.
All of these people were depressed and sarcastic. They all were the same. And I think at first that really bored me because I said, okay, the only one who didn't like dry me out from it was Yelena. So I thought Florence Pugh did a really good job in like not like making me feel exhausted. But by the time you have,
I was gonna say Bob.
Yes, because that gave genuine. Yes. You can't just but you have so many people on screen. At a certain point, somebody's going to start falling flat. And I did think that, Ghost and U.S. Agent were going to fall flat for me in terms of like, okay, everybody's so like standoffish, like chill. And you have like the Red Guardian there to balance it out. But he can only do so much when you have that many people on screen. And I mean, if we're honest, Bucky has never been the most beautiful ray of sunshine either. So it's like all these angry, like negative people.
Assassins.
Yeah. And I get that this movie, it was obvious. Like there were some very obvious in your face, like mental health elements there. They're like, hey, you need community. Don't isolate. That was the message. Family's important. Love that for us. But they were borderline. They were for a minute there, I said, okay, somebody here needs to tighten up. We need to just, no, in the sense that I just...
Kelsey, don't go into
Just
therapy
going in on
ever.
it. Right.
Don't be no one's therapist.
No, listen, I am so here for it. I thought it was touching at one point. The moments between Yelena and Bob really touched me. And I wouldn't cry, but I could feel that heat in your face from when you're about to cry, because it was just very beautiful. However, it's like if they were all depressed the whole time, it's like, dang, like I just feel like we need to focus. And I'm looking forward to future films where we get to see, hopefully as they heal through their community, we get to see more of their personalities, like outside of the fact that they are all like, oh, I feel so bad because I've killed so many people. It's like, well, yes, that would make you feel bad. So like, what's more to you though? There's got to be something more to you.
Yeah.
Because she kind of had a point when she was like, so what? We all like just punch and shoot. It's like, well, I'm glad you said that, because there's nobody here has a suit. Bucky has the serum, right? But everybody has the serum nowadays. The serum, everybody has it. And then I'm like, so none of you can fly except for Bob. And Bob don't want to fly because we see what happens when Bob like starts doing things.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, we don't even get a Hulk-like character. Like, come on. Like, where are the superpowers? I think you guys are just a bunch of like assassins outside of like Ghost, basically. So, it was very much set up to be boring. Like, if we're honest, but I know it's supposed to be like the underdogs coming together, and like nobody thought they could do it.
Like, that's actually what I thought it was. Like, I thought it was like Marvel's. Like,
that is what it is.
Okay, so when you look at it like that,
I mean, we really only lost one character, so which was that's a whole different subject.
Yeah.
Taskmaster just
is she actually dead
dying.
though? Like for real?
Well, maybe, we don't know.
Because that's kind of
crazy.
crazy.
Theories. Yeah, people have their theories, but it's assumed that she's dead. But, you never know how they might bring that character back. But yeah, she's dead as of right now, probably.
That was a very disrespectful way to take a character out of a whole universe. Like, that was so...
I would have rather a character like that die a little bit more ceremoniously, or like in a way where they... I don't know.
Yeah,
just don't die to a bullet.
It was like
and that can be any of them, and that's what I'm saying. You're supposed to be Earth's mightiest heroes.
Maybe they're trying to show how vulnerable they are at the same time.
Well,
they shouldn't be.
They're not. But the point of that team is that they're not Earth's mightiest heroes.
Okay,
like you can obviously see the difference. You can see the difference between the Avengers and the Thunderbolts. One is this super-powered, flashy team that saved the world, saved the universe, and then you have the Thunderbolts, and they're just this ragtag team of assassins and, people who have lost their way. Like, if you look at John Walker, which she was my favorite part of the movie. I like his character a lot.
John Walker was your favorite part of this movie?
I like him a lot. There's one scene I wish I saw some real action in. I'm not sure. You remember that part where they're stuck in the hallway? They're trying to get out of that trapped base. They're in the hallway. They have the soldiers moving in, and he's like, "Come on, turn on the lights." And he attacks the soldiers all by himself, and he takes all those soldiers out. What I wish they did is I wish they would have shown him in action just by himself, because he has the shield. He has the power to take out all these soldiers. It would have really grabbed my attention had he thrown that shield. It bounced all across the walls. They're in a hallway. It bounced all along the walls, knocking these guys out. Just boom, 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 boom. Him crashing through people. Like, they could have made...
You want to be the stunt coordinator.
I might as well. Excuse my language. I might as well be, because I'm like, that was such a missed opportunity just to get some like super soldier action out of John Walker. I like his character. I like Bob's character. But what I was trying to say is like, they've all come from this place where it's like they all have these traumatized pasts. And that's kind of like the whole story of the movie, right? So they're coming from, hey, let's all just be kind of like depressed or a little sarcastic or just kind of like whatever, like Kelsey said, to the point at the end of the movie where they're a team that can synchronize together, and they're a team that kind of like sees each other as family. The Avengers, they were like co-workers. But you can see the Thunderbolts have that connection at the end of the movie where they're like friends. They're like, a newly formed family. And now Bucky, he has a place where you can call family. You know his story. He's been
Chris
out,
Evans was his family. I mean, he has a new home, but he definitely had family prior to. I always felt like the original Avengers were family, but I'm going to agree with you. But we didn't get to see as much of that. Like, obviously, these people are like keeping each other from literally walking off the edge of cliffs and stuff. They're like, please
hmm
don't delete yourself. And so yeah, that's gonna make us feel like they're more interconnected than maybe others. But we've seen people sacrifice them, like Black Widow sacrificed
Yeah.
herself for everybody, but for Hawkeye
Okay,
specifically,
well, yeah,
we've seen that it was giving family, it was giving brotherhood. It was there. But I get what
but
you're
at the
saying. It's
begin,
different.
but at the beginning of the movie, they were all trying to kill each other, and then at the end of the movie, they're a brand new team. So what I'm saying is, I feel like part of the point of the movie was that exploring the whole mental wellness thing, the whole trauma thing, and then one creating that the foundation of heroes that we can see more of. And I feel like that was just the best part of the movie to me. I mean, was it flashy? Was it like seeing the Avengers fight an alien invasion? No, but it was pretty good for what they could do. I mean, they just shoot and punch. They can't really do much. They can't really do much more than that. Like, the only one who could actually do something is Bob,
His name in
and
Bob is
you only see him.
And Bob can't participate. Bob just needs to
Yeah,
be
I have a
present.
question. Is
yeah.
Bob supposed to be
Until he can get his
Superman?
powers together. No, well, he's supposed to be the Marvel stand-in for Superman
Okay.
in a way, according to the comics. He doesn't act like Superman. He acts exactly how he did in the
Mm-hmm.
movie. But, he has the same powers and stuff. But I'm guessing until he gets his powers together, he can't do much besides, read his little book and do the dishes like he was doing at the end of the movie.
Please.
Yeah.
My thing is, I must ask, and I hate to go back to this. One, okay, you said they're like not. Okay, I know they're supposed to be like this ragtag group that's like
hmm
second wave of Avengers, but again, like if they're not giving Earth's mightiest heroes, then they shouldn't be the Avengers. Okay, because okay, we had the post-credit scene, and
Yeah.
you had the news articles, you had the discussion about like, oh, are we going with basically these Avengers, or are we going to go with Anthony Mackie and his group that he's trying to put together?
Yeah,
I
like even at the end of the
personally,
movie, the public doesn't know if
yes,
these are the new Avengers. They're like, are
yes,
these our new Iron Man? Are these
yes.
our new Thanos killers?
And as the public, I personally now have decided to vote with the Falcon and his group, because if y'all were not giving the mightiest heroes, I think y'all are cool and they should be what we like to call the support group. Do y'all watch My Hero Academia? We love the support.
Yeah, you're talking about Class B, or you're talking about
Like, the
no, the
girl,
support class.
the support
Yeah,
class. This needs to be the
yeah.
support class. The support class is important. We love them. But Earth's mightiest heroes don't get up here and lie, because we have Doctor Doom coming. I
I
don't
was about
believe
to
that you're going to
say,
be able
because
to handle
imagine
it.
if Bob like wasn't actually depressed and actually a foe. Like, would y'all just go in there and hug him like to solve?
We
Like, do
all
you
would have
get how
died.
like you guys are kind of useless? You guys were useless in that scenario.
Basically, the power of friendship won out here. But in terms of like, could you have a chance? Like, is there anything remotely close to stopping Bob? No. Thor was our best shot. And where was he? He wasn't here.
Like,
But you had
I
your
could see
favorite
them
character, U.S. Agent, which elaborate on that. Why would that be your favorite character? You're
now.
losing
For one,
credibility.
I'm
Like,
not losing credibility. He was just my favorite. He's my favorite character out of the team.
Okay.
Like, for one, he kept them from getting killed when they were being chased down by a bunch of tanks and stuff. Like, he's the only one with a freaking shield that can stop bullets. Two, I think it's the fact that they really did well with his character, as in the fact that he's a soldier. Now, for him to gain that mantle of Captain America, he was a really decorated soldier. He was like, he had this whole hero mindset. He had a righteous heart. And then throughout Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you see that righteous heart constantly attacked, constantly diminished. And then he makes one bad choice because he just watched his friend die. And then all of a sudden he's the enemy. So he loses his credibility. He loses his shield. He loses his mantle as Captain America. And in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, it was really unfair. And it was unfair how Falcon and the Winter Soldier treated him in that. But I think in this movie, as he's joining the team, he's not the one giving orders. He's not the one saying do this, do that. He's not the one acting as if he's this self-proclaimed leader. when your leader would tell him to do something, he'd do it. I saw him as in he's either a good co-leader or he's a good soldier. And I think that's where they did well with his character because he's like, for one, after they tried to kill each other, he wasn't an asshole. He wasn't like, okay, I'm just worrying about myself, etc. Like when they're on the run, he's protecting them. When they're, forming their team or like just when he's taking orders, he's not fighting back. His character is the good soldier, and I liked his character just in that way. He wasn't fighting back against trying to be a team. He wasn't trying to be the most important in the room. And I think you can also see his progression from, because, you saw his whole situation with his family, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that dark little flashback when he touched Bob and how he was being a poor father, part of which was because of, him losing his mantle as Captain America and losing his, job, his career, etc. When they're going through Bob's, past and trauma, the first thing, like he was the first one to knock Bob's dad out when they were like going through all of Bob's past and like working their way through. He was the first one to knock Bob's dad out. And I think that was a perfect metaphor for him seeing his past, his trauma. And then the first thing he's like, I was a terrible father. That's why I lost my kid. That's why I lost my wife. First thing he does, he goes and knocks the mess out of Bob's abusive dad because he's like, this, he doesn't want to be that type of dad. They all have to see their own trauma and they all fought through it. And he had that change of, I feel like that action he took on Bob's dad was a change of heart. And then his, way he formed with the team just showed how much of a good, just a good team member he could be. I just saw him protecting everybody most of the time, following orders, and then I saw his character development, his growth.
I actually am so glad that you explained yourself because to say that was your favorite character in the whole movie, it really did blow my mind. However, I could see why you would like that. I agree with what was said. I don't know if I'd say he was my favorite, but I did see like the growth even in the short 2 hours that we had him, even with all of them actually, like everybody, I think that was the point, seeing how like community and like just really taking care of ourselves, taking care of our minds, taking care of each other, how that can help us kind of evolve into like the best version of ourselves. I will say that like I feel like in terms of Marvel movies, and I think I told you guys this like in general, but like for the sake of the show, I felt like for a Marvel movie, you kind of go in and you want to leave like the theater feeling like you're gonna go fight crime. Like if an alien were to burst through the sky, you'd want to feel empowered enough to do something about it. I did not leave feeling that way, but I feel like it was a good movie. So if you had just presented this as a superhero movie and been like, bam, there, I would have been like way more appreciative, maybe. But when you compare it to the Avengers, and I feel like they did compare it, maybe because they knew we would compare it, but to compare it to the Avengers so far as to say these are the new ones, you're saying a lot. That's a lot to say. That's a big label to place on them. And I feel like they literally can't do what the Avengers did. And they also didn't give us that action. The most action we had, I mean, first of all, we're fighting like shadows and depression. Like, it's not the same as fighting aliens out of the sky.
That's fair.
I'm just saying, it's not the same. It's important, and I liked it, but is it the same, like, excitement as seeing, like, a monster ravish New York?
Because I'm like, if you also compare it to, like, DC, that's like saying, like Suicide Squad could, like, replace the Justice League, and that's, like, an insane thing to say.
Yeah.
That's, like, crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it doesn't mean that I don't
it's just not the same.
The Thunderbolts, but it's not the same. And I feel like we just have to be honest that it's not the same. But I liked it. I had a great time. I had fun. I was gonna say I giggled. I don't believe that I laughed, but I felt laughter inside.
Yeah.
I was aware that that's something that one could feel.
I just didn't feel the epicness of them. They felt very normal and realistic.
Yeah.
I would say that. It didn't feel superhuman.
Yes.
It didn't feel like, wow, like my mind couldn't fathom this. It just gave like highly trained CIA like operative.
But that's also what I was gonna say, because I could see them being a pretty good team on like a street level, like on a street level playing field, or even when it just comes to domestic stuff like terrorism or other, threats. But when it comes to like space galaxy type threats. They're no Guardians of the Galaxy, or they're not the
Yeah.
Avengers. But I think the realism of them was also appealing, and also kind of like just where it made the movie feel more real. Because there was that scene where they're all teaming up to fight Sentry in that room, and they're all like coming at Sentry with everything they've got, and Sentry's just throwing them around like paper. And then after they all get their butts kicked, first thing they do is get the
Give
hell
up.
out of there. I'm sorry, but I'm like, yeah, like you guys aren't gonna beat him. Get out. But that was like really
Yeah.
realistic, because they were like, okay, we gotta go. This guy, he's cleaning, he's mopping the floor with us. So they did. They didn't try to sacrifice their lives or like fight till the very end. They were like, nah, we can't do this. We can't beat him. We gotta go. We gotta dip. I think that was real. And I was like, yeah, like, but I guess they found a different way to beat him, which was, in my opinion, a little convenient, but
Yes,
at the
it
same
was
time,
a lot,
yeah,
a lot convenient.
yeah,
A lot
because
convenient
honestly,
that they found him in that same basement, because had they not, that prior relationship would
yeah,
not have been built, and they wouldn't have had the same emotional impact on Bob. Like,
yeah,
if you didn't have that pre-existing
because
friendship, we're all dead.
yeah, because when I saw that little girl turn to,
Nothing.
a street mark on the pavement, yeah, I was just kind of like, y'all gotta run. There's nothing y'all can do to that. And it was just so convenient that, if you step into the darkness, then that's just kind of like stepping into this alternate mental dimension, which it was a unique turn. Cause you try to think of like, okay, realistically, how would that be possible? Or even in the Marvel universe, how would that be possible? Cause I feel like in the Marvel universe, we've only seen like, weird space, um, celestial type stuff happen, but it was all kind of like based around science. And I'm like, so Bob's powers is based around entering, if he turns you into something black, you're still alive, but like, where are you?
The
Um,
void.
yeah, it's called the Void, but I'm like, okay, so what is that superpower called?
Did y'all
Is
watch
it,
like Solo Leveling yet?
I don't know.
What's
Solo
that?
Leveling.
I saw a summary of the story. I saw a summary of the story
Yeah,
on
because like in
YouTube,
I thought
but
I
I
kind of
haven't watched
understood
it.
that part because in that, like, it's like the anime. He's able to like take the souls
Hmm.
of I guess deceased people that he fights, and he can bring them back. So it's like
Yeah.
a storage. So I kind of got the shadow being a storage. Like they could exist in the shadow realm, and I guess like it's so
Uh,
expansive
okay.
that it's like
So you're talking, yeah, because I know, like in Solo Leveling, it's called like
yeah,
necromancy or
basically. So
something
it's
like
like
that.
so expansive
Yeah.
that he's in control of that and he can like it's like nothing to him for him to absorb these beings.
You know what? You're right. I
Yeah.
can see that, because you remember the Soul Stone. You remember the Soul Stone from the Avengers
Yeah.
movies, and how when Thanos got a hold of it, he was just automatically in some different place, but it was like through the soul. So I can see his powers. His powers might be tied to the Soul Stone in some way. Okay, yeah, then that
Yeah.
would make sense.
If he's supposed to be that strong,
But
that makes sense. Like if he was like, yeah, if he's supposed to
yeah,
be as strong as I feel like they're setting him up to be, that is possible for him
yeah,
to.
because I'm really wondering, like, what type of experiments did they do on him
Something
for?
serious.
Yeah.
And they just
Something
put him in a
serious.
random
But my
storage
thing
box.
is,
Like, okay.
like, and they said, well, we're just gonna throw him in the basement. Okay, what did we think was gonna happen? My thing isn't even the issue of like what is the void. My issue is when you're in the void, how is it? It's a bit convenient. You guys have only known each other for 5 days. You've known each other for 5 minutes. I do believe you trauma bonded very strong. However, it took Yelena a minute to work through her own stuff, then to get to Bob. How is it that as soon as everyone's like, the Red Guardian's like, yes, we're gonna walk into the void, they instantly find them at such a convenient hour? It was all very convenient. I understand it's a
Yeah.
Marvel movie, so it has to work that way, but I feel like somebody would have gotten stuck. Statistically, at least one of y'all is gonna get stuck in your own room, or you're gonna get lost.
Yeah.
How did you end up in Bob's room that
Yeah.
quickly?
Now
I didn't. I don't know.
that's one like critique, because I was like, okay, they found. I can understand how Yelena found Bob and maybe how John Walker found Bob because they both had a prior experience to touching him. And Yelena kind of found out, okay, this is just, illusions. I just have to break through this and get closer to him. But for all of them to get through their trauma so quick, because Yelena, she had just spilled her guts to her father, talking about everything she's been through and stuff like that. So I could see her being a bit more healed, and maybe Bucky, because he did go on a whole lot of like personal self-help care, etc. throughout the past few movies and shows. But for all of them to just show up in Bob's basement in the nick of time so quickly, I felt like, okay, they could have either shown each of them going through their stuff, or maybe some of them just don't get to Bob.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not everybody should have made it. I'm so sorry. I'm just saying. And and y'all have been through some things. This whole movie was about the fact that all of you have been so traumatized. You're telling me it was that easy? You don't need therapy. You need Bob, apparently, because they worked through that quickly. I just didn't buy it.
Let me play devil's advocate.
And I know that.
Though.
Yeah.
What if because the power of the mission, they had a motivation to work through it rather than wallow in their emotions, and the pool of friendship allowed them the power to really push through at an efficient manner to really reach their.
Now you said the pool of friendship threw me off.
To reach their end goal, and thus, looking past their own wallet to really, get to the meat and the really important things of life.
That is the correct answer. I don't know. Y'all are strangers personally, but I think that is the correct answer. That is what happened.
I think it just happened like that for this. I think it happened like that just for the sake of the movie. Yeah, just for the sake of the plot. Because, she asked them, she was like, are y'all okay? And what did you see? Bucky's like, yeah, I saw some stuff. But he's been dealing with that ever since he woke up out of being a Winter Soldier.
The hardest.
But then you look at somebody like John. Yeah, you look at somebody like John Walker. Only maybe a day or so ago, he had touched Bob, saw his family and stuff in the past, and he was looking down the edge of the elevator like, I'm about to jump. You don't go from being slightly suicidal after seeing how bad of a father you were to working through all of that trauma within a couple minutes. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. But the power of friendship is very healing, as we can see. And that is what we're meant to believe. And also that they are the Avengers, even though they don't have actual powers. And their words, not mine.
You don't have to be an Avenger to.
Yes,
you don't have
do.
to have powers to be in it.
Yes, you do.
Well, Iron Man didn't have powers. Iron Man didn't have powers.
Iron Man's power was his mind and his ability to build
production,
to build the suit. If they had suits.
Bucky has a robotic metal arm.
And that
John Walker has super soldier serum.
Bucky was, support group. Bucky was not one of the. Bucky was support group. If I'm being honest, look, I think that Hawkeye and Black Widow were there based on, seniority? It's like they grandfathered in almost, but even then, I would argue Doctor Strange, maybe Wanda could have been promoted. I think that we should have the strongest of the strong defending the Earth, defending the universe. Okay. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
Okay.
Thor, that makes sense. I don't know about everybody else.
I'll be honest in the way where most of the team is basically, most of the Thunderbolts is either a weaker version of Captain America or Black Widow.
Well, yes.
You have Yelena and Ghost. They basically have the same skill set, except Ghost can phase through stuff and she's not as, Black Widow savvy. And then you have the Red Guardian, John Walker, and Bucky. They're all pretty strong and can shoot and punch. So it's basically a team of the most human superheroes, I suppose.
That's fair.
They most human. Are our strongest civilians, Earth's mightiest civilians. That's what they are. Sure. And that is okay. Sure. And we need strong neighbors. Having a neighbor like that is very helpful. I can appreciate that. But I just think we need to be honest about who we're sending to, thank goodness it's Fantastic Four coming from outer space. If it were anybody else, we were done. We're finished.
That's what I was about to say. At least they'll probably be able to work together with the Fantastic Four.
And that's why we're
That'll
safe.
That'll make things better.
We're gonna have
Yeah.
the X-Men. Like, we're gonna be fine.
Oh yeah.
It's just
And
that
we have Century.
it's not because of
Centurion.
once Bob locks
Centurion.
once Bob locks in, it's over for them.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah.
But am I gonna, I think those support teams add a lot. I just think we should have a ranking. Doctor Strange, he's still with us, right? He's still, is he dead?
No, he's still here.
No, he's still around. He's just,
Because
he's still around.
Y'all didn't want to call him?
There was something that happened at the end of the last Doctor Strange movie. I have no idea what's going on with that. Like, I don't know. He's alive, but he might be alive on some different plane of existence or something.
I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the little...
That was the movie with Wanda, right?
Yeah. I remember now.
Yeah.
Like he kind of possessed...
Where is she? Is she Scarlet Witch permanently now?
Yeah, she's Scarlet Witch permanently. And yeah, we don't know where she is. But last time we saw her, she was doing all types of witchcraft. Well, no, actually, no, what happened? Actually, I don't know. But I know that Doctor Strange, he's probably on some interdimensional
just a retreat
fight right now.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe he's on a retreat.
I just feel
Still
like
got Wong around.
Those are the people that are going to save us in this like upcoming phase. But I love that we have new characters. I love that Bucky has like community. I love that everyone is healing and healthy and happy. But you're not going to Earth's mightiest heroes. Y'all simply must cut it out. I can't associate that with this group.
Give them a break. Give them a break.
No. New York was God. It was all black. It was all God.
Oh my gosh.
We were saved by coincidence, and that's okay because we made it to see another day, and there are people coming from space to help us. But, me, I'm a hater. It seems like I'm the drama, though, because I'm on Twitter, and I'm on X, and I see someone tweeted. They said, seeing each Thunderbolt save a civilian with their unique skills and being celebrated for it by onlookers was truly one of the best moments the MCU has delivered since Endgame, perhaps since the Avengers. Since Endgame, yes. Since the Avengers, no. But I see what they're saying. I like the tweet.
Yeah,
I agree.
People love it. People love it. Man,
well, that was a touching moment, but it was also corny because you're telling me all of y'all have this serum and y'all can't lift a rock? That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, bro. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Why did it take 5 of y'all to lift a rock?
That's a valid criticism because I was expecting, the Red Guardian to just boom, push it with one hand, because I'm assuming he has the same amount of power as Captain America. Now, if Captain America was lifting it up on his own, that's one thing. But you have John Walker, Bucky with his metal arm, and the Red Guardian, and then you got Yelena and Ghost under there. Like, they're just pushing a brick wall. They're not doing much. But I think they had them all together for the sake of the moment.
It was weakness. I feel like they should have.
You have a lot of criticism.
Exactly.
I did, but I love the movie. I have a lot of criticism because I could be a little realistic. It's still a superhero movie, so they're just doing a lot of this is just for entertainment. We don't have to look at things so critically, but at the same time, it's stuff that just shows, But I still love the movie a lot. I think I've been thinking about it a lot because I love it. So
it's sentimental.
Yeah. Marvel's always been sentimental to me, even at its lowest. Like, I want to see it do great. I'm not one of those haters.
Well, I'm also not one of these haters that you speak of. I was rooting for everybody in the chat. I have to be honest. I think this is like the meanest I've been in a really long time. I've been super positive, but I could not lie here. It's just because this franchise means so much to me. Somebody also said, I will give them this. I love foreshadowing. Apparently, there was a scene early in the movie where there were shadows, and someone said the brilliant use of shadows in the opening sequence and how well it parallels visually with the void later, chef's kiss. I do like that. And it's kind of like Yelena, and she's fighting in the darkness, and it's kind of symbolizing like what she's going to do later, fighting in that void and that darkness to kind of save the day. I think that's clever.
I saw someone also say that in the beginning when she was like falling off the building, it was like very similar to her sister, like how she fell for that stone. I forgot which dome she died for.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like the same
She
video,
jumped
like
off,
the
I think.
same angle.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. I see
parallel.
a post and it's like, it says low key what watching Thunderbolts felt like. And it's a picture of some guy strapped to a wall being injected with a big old syringe of hope. And it says like hope on the syringe. And that's what I felt. I'm like, y'all are giving me hope for these future films. So, like I said, I think a lot of people felt hope. Like that just justified my feelings about the movie. It gave
That's
people
fair.
hope for
It's not like
Marvel.
it's the
So,
whole
cause
cake,
I
but it's
was,
getting
the
the
last,
ingredients for a cake.
yeah, like I mean, I just watched the recent Captain America movie with the Falcon. Bunch of haters because I liked the movie a lot. I can see where there were like some points where it was like, but then there was a lot of action in it and a lot of like story development. And I'm like, okay, I like this movie. But then you have a bunch of haters and I'm like, I'm tired of seeing people hate on Marvel,
It's me.
you know. I'm tired of seeing people hate on Marvel and not give it a chance, especially if we loved Marvel so much when it was doing great. I'm like, when stuff hits the fan, are you still a fan? That's the type of guy I am. I'm like,
I am a fan. And that movie, The Falcon with Harrison Ford and everybody, I thought it
mm-hmm,
was okay, but I felt
okay,
like there were.
okay,
I'm actually not a hater though. I just feel like there were parts of it that it was a good movie. Some of the scenes were long, but I liked the scenes, if that made sense. I just feel like they could have been shortened. That's all. But it was a good movie and I thought it was clever and I loved the Harrison Ford and the president and all of that. Like, I thought that was super cool. And in terms of this being hope injected into my body as I'm pinned to a brick wall, I would say hope in good movies in the franchise. But is it like
mm-hmm,
hope in the word Avengers? No, but hope in like the Thunderbolts. I just feel like, why can't they just be in the Thunderbolts? Why can't I just like them as that? Why are we replacing icons? That'd be like if I woke up and I wanted to be on the runway and I'm like, I'm the new Tyra Banks. Girl, just be yourself. Like, you
Kelsey.
can't replace her. Just be you. Just be you. And I feel like the Thunderbolts are good on their own. Like, I think they represent something different. I think they're good differently. So I would say hope in the franchise producing quality films. Yes. But I would end the
yes.
sentence there.
And I think if this was Marvel's version of Suicide Squad, I think they did way better than DC did with Suicide Squad. Even though I love the Suicide Squad movie, like the recent one, I felt more connected to these characters, to the Marvel characters. Because you have a bunch of just randoms in the DC version, except for like Harley Quinn or, gosh, I can't remember his name right now. Deadshot, played by,
Idris
what's his
Elba.
name?
No, Will
Oh
Smith.
no, Idris, yeah. No. Will Smith was the first Suicide Squad. Idris Elba played his character in the second one. But I just felt more connected to the Marvel characters because they're not just random throwaways. You'll see DC characters, they'll just die just like that. And we only really had that from the Ghost character. But I think that was Marvel course
Taskmaster.
correcting. Yeah, my
Yeah.
bad, Master. Yeah. But I think, yeah, that's my feelings. I think people thought it was just going to be like a Suicide Squad type of film. And I'm like, nah, like we're not going to see all these characters that people actually like, just killed off. I don't think Marvel is that type of, that's not Marvel's brand anyways.
They just killed off
But,
everybody I cared about like a few years ago, but I get what you mean. Like we did have them for over a decade and a half.
yeah,
Literally everybody I loved is gone.
but they died ceremoniously. They
Yeah.
weren't blown up by a rocket out of nowhere,
Yeah.
That's my point.
Someone tweeted that the fact that it's Bob on meth and the chicken has made my
Yeah,
entire week. That was crazy.
that was a funny
Did
scene.
they say that it was
Yeah.
That was a
meth?
funny scene.
He said
Yeah,
it was
he
meth.
literally
Oh,
said, I was
okay.
on meth.
But
I was
did
on
not
meth.
catch that. What the heck?
But
I
I did like how Marvel didn't hold
Yeah.
back at times. Because I feel like we don't see a whole lot of like maybe more adult themes or gruesome stuff in Marvel movies anymore. Like, okay, that part when the girl was just like, when she just disappeared. I think a lot of people were caught off guard because they were like, well, we just saw a child death in this movie, like right before our eyes. It wasn't off screen. It wasn't from like some sickness or something. It was like, no, this girl just got splattered all over the road in front of us. And I heard the whole audience, like the whole theater, they just gasped. They're like, that little girl just die. You know, he just saved her.
Yeah,
Stuff like
actually,
that. Yeah, stuff like that. The mention of meth. Even when Taskmaster died, just gunshot to the head, and you see blood pouring out. I was like, oh, that's a little bit more, you know, a little bit more mature because I don't think we've seen a whole lot of that type of maturity out of past Marvel movies. At least it's not coming to memory right now.
I'm gonna let you have that, yes, because you're absolutely right. Because now when I think about it, yeah, say my theater, including me, when that little girl was gone, I actually was not expecting that.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, it wasn't gruesome or anything. It's just like, dang,
Y'all
like,
really did
where
that.
children aren't making it now. Yeah, so
yeah.
okay, period. Okay, we see the vision. We see where we're going with this. Okay.
Hmm.
I see somebody else said, we don't need an Avengers movie. We need another Thunderbolts movie about the whole year they spent together with every single thing they did. Ignore the second half of that tweet. The first half is the point that I feel like I'm stuck on. We don't need another Avengers movie. Like, let it be the Thunderbolts. And I'm sad. I will watch. But I don't know if I want to know everything they did for the past year. But I think it would be fun. Or like, you know how Disney Plus had all the like mini series or whatever? It'd be cool if they got like a little 6 episode thing where we got to see them go on adventures together, something fun, something cute,
Yeah.
some bonding.
Now, who was y'all's least favorite character? I'll say
U.S.
mine
agent. No, I'm kidding.
was. Don't do my boy like that. I think my least favorite character was. It was probably the director
I was
lady.
gonna.
What's her
No, she
name?
was
I mean,
great.
she wasn't my least favorite. She just didn't do anything for me. Like, I feel like she actually
She was
did the
annoying
role.
to
I feel
me.
like everyone in that role would do the same. Like, I feel like she's meant to keep the plot moving.
Well, yes.
Like, she's not really meant to. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's there in reflection of
Mm-mm.
them.
I thought that was such a good performance, though. Like, I felt like she was entertaining, but in a like, because you know sometimes you have a villain that's like cackling and
Yeah.
like shooting fire out of their hands, but she was like, no, I just want to do what I want to do, and you guys are kind of in my way.
Yeah.
Do you mind? And I felt like that was fun. She was very casual. She was very like confident. Very let's keep
Yeah.
it cute.
This
I'm just
is
gonna kill all of you
done, and
guys.
we
Let's
need
not
to-
let's not do too much. And there was a humor to her, like that kind of wit actually
Yeah.
didn't bother me. I thought she was like super fun on the screen. I liked every scene she was in. Miss Julia, you ate that.
I
I
just
like
felt like too
Valentina.
fun. I just kind of felt like too fun or a little bit just too
Okay.
casual.
That's fair.
I expected a little bit
Like, she
more
didn't bring
like
a serious
yeah,
severity,
little
heaviness to the role. That
But I think
position-
that's
Exactly.
what Bob was there, or the Bob, I guess, as like Sentry was supposed to be the darkness that you guys are looking for in Valentina. 'Cause I don't think Valentina ever was like, I'm the villain. She was like, I'm just not the worst bad guy here. She's like, there are bad guys. I guess you could say I'm bad, but like there are worse people, and I'm just trying to do my job. And I feel like the darkness was supposed to come from Sentry, not necessarily her. But
Yeah.
I feel like I liked it. I don't know. It was a fun type of villain. Not everybody needs to be like horrifying to me, you know?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I guess I halfway agree, but we'll
She
just
was
leave it
more
there.
like just getting a task that needed to be done, maybe not in the best, most morally
Exactly.
sound way. So that's fair.
I feel like my least favorite character was Ghost, but not because I have anything actively against her. I just feel like it didn't give much. So I feel like
Or she
everybody
did,
else
yeah.
brought so much that in comparison, that fell a little flat for me. Not the actress, but like the character. So I saw this tweet and it said, Thunderbolts being released during Mental Health Awareness Month was perfect. I hadn't even peeped, but that is perfect. That's a beautiful thing.
Okay.
Very, very big brain, very good. Whoever makes those decisions, release date decisions, I thought.
I like that. But at
clever.
the same time, I didn't come to this movie for that.
Okay.
Like, I feel like I could've- maybe it's good. It's digestible for. I don't know. It was very surface level in what they did. Like, they're like, okay, if you're sad, you know, like, okay,
Talk to a
Yeah,
friend.
like, it's
But
like,
that,
okay,
I
it
mean,
was good
well,
because
yes.
I guess, you know, in movies like this, they don't talk about like, oh, superheroes can be sad too, or whatever. That was nice, but like, I feel like if the movie was leaning on that, that wasn't enough. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think Bob's issue was because he was saying that he I think somebody with a lot of traumatized past and everything, they could feel as if they make everything worse, especially to other people's lives. So I think part of that message was like, don't isolate yourself, you know, because I mean, you look at Bob's past when his parents are having that whole argument downstairs, and then you see his mom tell him something like, "You make everything worse" or something like that, and he mentions that a few times throughout the movie. So I think part of that was just kind of like trying to the part of the message was like stay around people who want to reach out to you, who want to, you know, understand you, or just kind of like have that keep that social connection. Especially if you have the mindset of, oh, I make everything worse, I make other people's life worse. You know, what's the point of being anybody's friend? And that kind of like self hate, because that's the reason why Bob went through the experiment, anyways, because it was marketed as making somebody like a better version of themselves. So he felt inadequate. You know, he'd been on
That's
meth.
fair.
We went through child abuse, um, and he went through the whole experiment. And he was like, he literally did all of that just because he wanted to be a better person because he felt like the type of person he was would just wreck other people's lives. You know, um, and I think that was the message behind it. Now, in a lot of these Marvel movies, I don't think we really even get a message. It's more so it's more so about the action or story. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like this is one of the first, or if not that, then one of the few Marvel movies that actually have a message people can relate to a lot. Uh, you know,
I think they all have like stories. It's just like this one was definitely the most in your face, maybe, but a lot of them touch on like family. You think about somebody like Thor and Loki, like talking about maybe sibling dynamics and like family and
For Doctor
parent
Strange.
expectation, right? Yeah, like I think a lot of or Wanda and you know,
Yeah.
even the show like WandaVision, thinking about like family and like grief and how that could impact a person and maybe make them act
mhm.
differently. So I think it's been there, but this is definitely the
Okay,
most
yeah, I could,
in your
yeah,
face. Like, hey, here's the message. Look at it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Those are
Which
good examples, but I think I feel like for this movie, pushing that message a bit more made people connect to it, especially since the movie wasn't so flashy. It wasn't so action based. It had another foundation on it, if you know what I mean. It's like, okay, if you're not going to connect, if you can't connect to the action that we put in front of you in this movie, then maybe you can connect to the message a bit more. You know, so it gives you two things to like. If you don't like the action too much, then you may like the message. You know, if you don't like the message too much or it doesn't really relate with you, then you can enjoy the action, the characters, the build up, you know. Um,
I think that's interesting because like I think you're right. I also
yeah.
think you're just right. I think you're right in like, yes, that is what they were doing, and it does open it up to maybe a group of people who wouldn't have been interested in seeing like aliens and like super people flying through the air, even though Bob
Yeah.
did fly for a little bit, and things like that. But I can see what Georgette's saying in that like if that's all this movie had and that's the value it brought was just that when we showed up for a superhero movie, then you could argue it's a good movie, but is it a good superhero movie? Maybe
Hmm.
not, you know?
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of these are really hard. This is definitely one of the hardest movies we've talked about because it's just so much more different than like other films in its category, but it wasn't bad.
And I think I'll just give it one more take because I found a tweet that was kind of talking about what I was saying. Somebody said, "I love Thunderbolts, easily the most human film in the MCU. It had me tearing up from how well they handled themes of loneliness. The team dynamic is so strong that you can't help but feel for them, packed with exciting action and tons of heart. The future of MCU is bright," going back to the whole hope thing. So people are feeling like MCU is bright. But yeah, it was I feel like it was more human, especially when it comes to the actual characters. They're more human. They're not like these superheroes, you know. It was a more human
Sure.
film
Yeah.
in the MCU. It was more human physically, and it was more human, like, you know, emotionally, a heart to heart type of thing. Um, Not to say that other movies don't have their messages. So you were right on that point, Kels. But this was definitely a whole lot more like in your face. Yeah, it was a whole lot more like this is everybody could see what the message was. Yeah.
I can definitely agree with that tweet. I think it was definitely more human. I
Hmm.
think more human in a connection sense. And again, I think that we've had a lot of moments like that. It's the reason why we cry when we think that Spider-Man is dead or something, or when we see Captain America and he's like 90 years old and about to pass away in like 3 seconds. I think because they felt real to us and we saw those relationships that they have
Hmm.
with others. But I will agree that this is definitely the more like we haven't, I would say, talked about like mental health or anything like that in a Marvel movie on this level. We've talked about how everyone's past impacts them before, but this is definitely the most serious conversation we've had about it. So I'll give them that. Could they have done it while shooting lasers from their eyes? I would say yes. But I could see the, you know, heroes, they're just like us appeal to some people, you know? We're all
Yeah.
heroes, you know? Fight your inner demons and you too can be an Avenger. Like, it's kind of how I walked away feeling, but
Oh, not
um,
that. Yeah.
I just think that tweet that was a good one. You know,
Yeah.
okay, period. Um, so I just feel like we've had so many thoughts, and it's really, really, really hard. But we do have to make a decision. Consider court in session.
I will
Oh.
give it. We're gonna go ahead and give it our verdict. My verdict will be um very a very light infraction. I'll give it that. I'll give it a very light infraction. There are
Okay.
some parts where I was like, oh man, they could have really fleshed this out. Or some parts where I was just like, all right, too many too many Marvel jokes, because you know how Marvel can get with their jokes, with them being funny. Kind of like takes away from the stress of the moment a bit, or the just you being locked into the moment. But overall, I think it was a great Marvel movie because Marvel has their brand, and this felt like Marvel. And I think it was a solid foundation for these upcoming films, especially with Fantastic Four, Spider-Man. One thing I'd love to see happen in these other Marvel movies, and I guess, you know, Spider-Man would be a good example. You know how the whole city went dark, you know, the void did its thing. I'd love to see how um, instances like that play a role or affect other parts, like other characters within the universe. Like Spider-Man's movie could be his own movie by itself, but let's say at the end of his movie, he gets hit by the void. He ends up seeing his Aunt May die, ends up seeing things that he's gone through. Like I get how these movies are isolated from each other, but still, this is an MCU universe. So when the whole city of New York goes black from the void,
Mm-hmm.
there should be some talk, even if it's just like gossip or discussion in the background, or a newspaper article or something like that. There should be some talk about how it affected other characters within the universe. You know, if it's going to be if it's going to be something on that scale, in my opinion. Um,
That's yeah.
yeah,
That's I agree.
yeah. But overall, yeah, I give it a small infraction. Um, you know, get your life together. Maybe 12 hours of community service type stuff. But yeah, I feel like I love the movie, and I look forward to Marvel movies yet again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna make a comment to something you said earlier. I do think they do an okay job of like tying in things from other films normally, but on the note of Spider-Man, that's really relevant because he is also in New York. So like, how
Yeah.
is this happening? Like, where were you? And
Like,
also,
yeah, that's what people were saying. They were like, Spider-Man, you're on fraud watch because where the hell were you when all of this
Yeah,
was going on. Yeah,
like Brooklyn's right there. Like you should
yeah,
have, you were aware that this was going on. And I
yeah.
feel like, um, if I'm understanding correctly, the events of Doctor Doom or Doomsday, the movie, I low-key don't think Spider-Man is supposed to be in that. I think the
No, he's not.
the last Spider-Man movie or whatever is happening at the same time as those events. So maybe we'll see some, I don't
Yeah,
know,
I think that's
relevancy,
what
but
I
yeah.
think. Yeah, I think I saw somebody say that, and I'm also thinking like if he's not going to be in Doomsday, then where is he during where is he af what was I gonna say? Where is he
In
before
that next
Doomsday?
movie.
Yeah, it's like will something
Yeah.
happen to him where he's just nowhere near this whole Doomsday event? Or where is the Doomsday event taking place if Spider-Man isn't,
Mm-hmm.
going to be present? So yeah.
Right. Um, for sure. Yeah. I would agree that like again, this movie was, if nothing else, it was such a good segue. I cannot deny because I did also watch the Captain America movie, and I thought it was a cool movie, but did I
Hmm.
feel like, oh, this is really making sense for me on like where we're going in the future? Not necessarily the best connecting piece, but I feel like Thunderbolts did very well. Like I'm
Yeah.
seeing like where we're going now. It's all starting to make sense, and they were able to bring in Fantastic Four, all of these people that are going to be part of the movie we get next year. And I feel like that made a lot of sense to me. I also thought it was just a good movie. I enjoyed watching it. But George made an excellent point earlier in saying that it lacked that epicness that we were used to. I think that is my only like critique. Like it was a good movie. The characters were good. The acting was good. I feel like we got some cool scenes. Yelena in that hallway scene, I thought was very cool. There were some cool shots in there, whatever. Um, the comedic relief, it didn't overwhelm me. They were on the edge, but I feel like they did okay. I really don't
Yeah.
have anything bad to say other than the fact that for a Marvel movie, it was not epic. It was just a good movie. And for that reason, I have to give it an infraction. I know y'all thought I was going to come in here and be the biggest hater ever, but I liked the movie. I just don't think that I can give it innocent if you are a Marvel movie and you didn't make me go like, wow, like I wanted to leave the theater and look up at the sky and say, "Oh my goodness, they're with us. I can feel them." And it's like I would never say that about this group. And that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. But that's why
I
they're
don't
not
know.
innocent. It
I
wasn't
feel
epic.
like
There was nothing epic about that. Y'all could not flip a rock. The second they couldn't push the rock over, you're struggling to push a rock. All of y'all are on steroids and you can't knock over the rock. I just feel like that's crazy.
I feel like
Um,
we had to talk you down. We had to talk you down a little bit. I don't know.
you did because I'm sorry, the power of friendship. If I wanted that, I could go watch My Little Pony. What do I need? Like that's not what we're here for. And I feel like they're strong. Like the Avengers have always had that family bond. They've always had that friendship. But like Georgette said again, they weren't relying on it for it to be an epic film. I'm sorry,
Hmm.
like those are two very different types of like superheroes, and it did give me more. Um, what's the DC people?
Suicide.
It
Suicide
does give
Squad.
me Suicide Squad in every way, shape, or form. Um, like no matter what way you spin it, and nobody cares about the Suicide Squad. So I just think that
It's
I'm gonna have to
hilarious.
I'm gonna have to cut that out because I'm gonna get hate.
Yeah.
But no, I just think that it was very like low key for a Marvel movie. That felt very like underwhelming, but it was good. I had a good time. I was glad I went to see it. I thought it was a lovely movie. But don't ask me if it was a lovely Avengers movie. I'm gonna say no. It's just a good movie.
Okay. That's what I was gonna say. So I give it a heavy infraction. I don't want to say misdemeanor because I feel like for what it is, like I guess they did the best with what they got, trying to show us these characters. But I also feel like I'm not watching that again. Like I'm not.
Oh.
Like I feel like I have to watch it so I can see what the next good thing is gonna be. Like I had to get that out the way, basically. Like it's not
Well,
like, oh, that was the good thing. It's like,
it's an
oh,
it's
it's
a
the therapy for the
foundation.
good thing.
Yeah,
But
it's
But
the foundation.
yeah, it's a foundation, and because of that, it can't
that
stand
sucks
alone
though.
though. Yeah, it's like
But
it's not.
but I think you guys should be excited that it's a good grounded foundation.
But
Yeah, but
it's
then
like
okay, it's
if
a
the only
good.
reason I like
It's not that good. Like
I was gonna say,
it's a,
if the
it's
only
still
reason I like the movie is because it's gonna make me like other movies in the future,
and
then I
it
didn't.
might make you like other movies. Like you're not even like it's
I
not even
mean,
guaranteed.
Iron Man was a good foundation movie. It wasn't just like, oh my gosh, that was the best movie ever. Like I
To
feel like
you,
you
It's a
no, I'm
guys,
kidding.
strong movie.
Iron Man was good, but it was like a good B tier movie. The first Iron Man was a good B tier movie. I mean, come on, it was a good B tier. Like in the second Iron Man, you have him. He puts the suitcase down. The suitcase turns into a suit. They're on a
No,
racetrack.
I don't
He's
think that
fighting
was
the
B
guys.
tier.
Did you? Did
I
you?
could
It's a
have
B tier.
I could
It's a
have
B
watched like
tier.
I would watch Iron Man like as a standalone. Like if your Avengers never existed or all this other stuff, I that was like a good movie that I could like go to movie theater and be happy watching.
But compared to what came afterwards,
Yeah, but it's
Iron Man will
comparing it
be
to
a
like a
beer.
giant. But like
But that's
this,
what I'm saying. We're building the giant. It's a
what's
foundation. It's
that
this is a
movie
new
y'all? What's that movie we
phase.
watched, Kelsey, with them kids in the
Oh, that was X-Men, right?
that's what
Or
this gave. This low key gave that. Low
I
key
think you
without
guys.
all the
I think you guys were expecting an Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War.
not
I think you guys
even
were
because the Ant
expecting.
Man movies are
I was
good. Like,
thinking maybe Age of Ultron even, and
You
that
said
was
the Ant Man movies.
yeah, I like the Ant Man movies by themselves. Like, I feel like they like
I think
fall good.
third one could have been better, a little bit better. Yeah,
Yeah,
third
but
Ant
I feel
Man.
like those
Yeah.
are movies like I can go to the
what's that?
movie and be like, yeah, that was a good movie. But I feel like this, you're trying to redeem it because you're seeing what it can do for other stuff. But like,
I'm
let's assume
trying
that this was
to.
the end of this was the last Marvel movie ever. Like, you would be mad.
Yeah, sure.
Like, you'd be like, bro, like, what is this?
But it isn't
Oh
bad.
my
It's a
gosh.
good movie.
It's
It's a
not
good
bad,
movie.
but it's also it just exists to me. Like, I'm not like, yeah, like, yeah. I'm just like,
People
okay,
like it because it's good
yeah.
commentary on like mental health awareness, but
It's
you
not good
don't like
commentary
it
to
because
me.
it's a superhero movie. You like it
Yeah.
because it's starting an important conversation around mental health. That's very different. I feel
I
like
don't
I
even
can
think it was
agree.
that good at that, in my opinion. I feel like
Yeah,
it
I
was just like, okay,
didn't.
we did it.
I didn't like it
Like
because
we
it's mental health. I mean,
I
that's
feel like
cool and
that's what
all.
people are like, "Oh my
yeah,
gosh, this is
I
so
feel like the
nice that we're
message was
seeing people
cool.
have like, oh my goodness, there's people that are like um talking about um the darkness and how we need to overcome, and they were all so lonely and depressed, and now they're working together as a team and getting their recognition, and it's like, okay, but that's not why we came to the movie theaters.
Yeah.
That's not why we came here. We came here to watch the Avengers because that's what you said they were, and that's not what it gave, and that's okay. But they should have stuck with the Thunderbolts. I don't want them at the end of the movie. You know, it said the new Avengers. Did y'all see when the text was on the screen? I
Yeah.
Hmm.
feel like they should have just said, "Oh, the Thunderbolts, will be back."
Now,
They said
like
the new Avengers and Bob, the new Avengers. I don't
if
know
you're
who they
going by
are,
the
but they're not here.
comics, if you're going by the comics, this makes sense. I think New Adventures is fine.
JPatt sticking up for his stuff, bruh.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
well,
New Adventures is
I
fine. The logo's cool.
no, no,
Who's
no.
to say the team won't grow? Who's to say there won't be new
It
Avengers?
no, it I think that it will, but the only person worthy of being under the Avengers title, I'll give it to Bucky simply on the fact that you can be grandfathered in. But everybody else, you have Sentry, that's the only person like worth adding. You can have one Black Widow type. So we'll
That's
let
gonna be the
Yelena in.
sister.
We'll let Yelena in, but that's it. The rest of y'all, I'm so sorry. Like I
Nah,
have much
you can
more.
let John Walker in. You can let John Walker
Of course you feel that way, but I just feel
in.
like I just feel like there are so many more powerful. I What are Avengers? What are they? The subtitle says Earth's mightiest heroes. You're lying. You're lying. I don't see Earth's mightiest heroes in the room. They're not here.
The rock.
They could not flip a rock. We're dead. We're dead. New
Y'all
York,
are hating.
the whole New York went black. And people were like, oh, but they care about collateral damage. Look how they tried to save the little people. Because, no, that's because that's all they could save. They did that because they had no choice. They could not help us on a larger scale. They could only help New York one block at a time. That's why they did that. It's not because they cared about the little people.
One block at a time is crazy.
I'm just saying, what were they supposed to do? They couldn't swoop in and smash and carry 10 people on their shoulders to safety.
All right. Well, we all got it. Okay, we all give infractions. I apparently gave the lightest infraction.
You gave the light infraction. I give heavy. Kelsey gives.
I don't know. Might as well call it heavy.
I thought it was. I thought it was quite light. I felt like I'm just saying we need to call them what they are. The Thunderbolts. And I love the Thunderbolts. They're so cute. Look at them. They're so cute. I've not seen the Avengers you speak of, but the Thunderbolts are so nice. And I actually love that name. It's so cute. At first I was like, this is really like random to me, and then when they tried to tie it into her like soccer team, I was like, that's kind of corny. But by the end, I said, you know what? We are the Thunderbolts. And I like that. Own it. So keep that. Put that on your tracksuit. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I guess that's our verdict.
Thor was literally a god. Like, please get out of here.
Thor is doing stuff. He's doing stuff. Dang. Well, we have Sentry, and I feel like Sentry and Thor are near neck and neck power wise.
We have literally a warlock. And you're saying these people that can't flip a rock? Yeah, okay. In the episode.
Okay, whatever.
This was fun. I've enjoyed our talk.
As we can see, the infractions are varying in the degree of
right.
Yeah. We definitely yeah. If it were I'm gonna have them locked up for a minute. So I think that this was great, though. We're all pretty much on the same page, just for different reasons. So
yeah,
I feel like we still came to one conclusion.
We see something wrong with it, but we still see it for what it is.
And it was a good movie, y'all. It was a good movie. I would tell someone to go see it. If anyone asks me, I'm gonna say go see it.
Yeah. If you have nothing to do and you're just like, I wanna
nothing to do. Dang, y'all going in. Y'all said nothing to do.
I was trying to be positive.
Yeah, I'll hold my tongue. But I'm
also not like a super, like Marvel fan either, so I'm not like.
Well, there you go. See, that explains it.
Yeah.
No, but I am. So what's my excuse?
Yeah. You're a hater. That's it.
Well,
Georgette just isn't in the know, and then you're just a hater, and then me as a Marvel, I wouldn't say fanatic, but I'm a fan. I loved it. I liked it. It was a great movie. It was good.
We got three different perspectives. That's good.
Yeah, and I think
I
think the audience will love mine a lot, and you guys should go see the movie. You guys should definitely go see the movie.
The box officers all ended on one page. We're still a united form of justice, and so yeah, we all came to the same conclusion. This is an oligarchy, and we stick together. So yeah. Well, I guess that's it. Enough of us fighting for tonight.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you for
box officers out.